Alrighty. Sorry for the delay. Good evening. This is the public information meeting for state project number 0011-0160. It is the replacement of the computerized traffic signal system on Route 218 in the town of Bloomfield. My name is Jay Lockby. I'm the project engineer from our Division of Traffic Engineering within the Connecticut DOT. Firstly, I want to go over how to turn on captions and subtitles in Zoom. In order to turn on captions, you click on the arrow next to show captions, select your speaking language, select the language you would like from the list shown, and closed captioning, including non-English translation options, are available on YouTube after the event has been completed. A quick overview of the meeting. First, I'll have some housekeeping items. Then we'll go into introductions of the project team. We'll explain the purpose of our meeting, the project overview, some more details on what our purpose and need are, some of the project coordination activities that we've already completed, potential right-of-way impacts, environmental impacts, project schedule, and our next steps. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a question and answer session. There are 3 different ways that you can submit questions to the project team. We have our project email that will be monitored throughout the meeting, but also for a 2-week comment period after this meeting is over. The email is dotproject0011-0160@ct.gov. You can also leave us a voicemail. We will check that at the end of the meeting. And then we also will look at our Q&A on our Zoom meeting. And as those that have registered, we have our project webpage that has some more information about the project. Like I said, the comment period is open for 2 weeks from today, August 13th. This is how to use the Zoom Q&A. You select the Q&A tool at the bottom of the Zoom webinar window. The Q&A window will open. Please type your question in and click enter. If you are an audio participant, dial *9 to raise and lower your hand. This is our Title VI slide to let everybody know about your civil rights and that no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development in this project. We will have a voluntary post-meeting survey that's at the link shown. Also, you can scan the QR code. I believe we'll also be posting that link into the chat. If not, we'll also post it at the end. And we have a link to our Title VI page and more civil rights information. A recording of this presentation will be posted to our YouTube channel after the event. And like I said before, closed captioning will be available. This is a longer post notice to the public about our Title VI civil rights information, and that any person who believes she or he has been aggrieved by any unlawful discriminatory practice under Title VI may file a complaint with the CTDOT. You can contact that phone number shown there, 860-594-2169, TRS-711, or email deborah.goss@ct.gov. And on this slide, we also have the Title VI notice posted in Spanish. All right. With that, I will introduce our project team. The division chief of traffic engineering is Matthew Bloom, and the principal engineer for the traffic signals unit within traffic engineering is Lisa Conroy. I am the CTDOT project engineer or project manager. And then we also have from CTDOT Kathleen Erickson, who is from our Division of Rights of Way. From our consultants that are doing the design for our project, we have Kwesi Brown from SLR International Corporation. He's the project manager. We also have Thomas Daly from Gannett Fleming. And helping us as a consultant liaison for CTDOT, we have Gina Musinski from Fuss O'Neill. With this slide, I'll hand it over to Kwesi Brown to give us some more details on the project design.
Well, thank you very much, Jay. Good evening, everyone. Again, Kwesi Brown with SLR. I'm the project manager on the consultant side. So the purpose of this meeting is really to present this project to the public, provide an overview of the project, as well as give a status update. But more importantly, to obtain feedback from the public that will serve as input as we go through our design for this project. Next slide, please. So just to give a little bit of a background on the project corridor that we are working on, Connecticut Route 218 is classified as a principal arterial. It currently carries about 26,000 vehicles on a daily basis. It has a posted speed limit of 40 miles per hour, and it typically has 4 lanes, 2 lanes in each direction. It does open up to additional turn lanes at signalized intersections within the corridor. In terms of the project area itself, we zeroed in on approximately 1.8 mile segment of the Route 218 corridor. The western terminus, as you can see on the slide, being the Signalway intersection to the west, and then traversing east with the eastern terminus being the Granby Street intersection. In all, we are looking at 8 intersections that we're going to be redesigning and upgrading as part of this project. To give a little bit of a context from a land use perspective, as you can see, on the western side of the corridor, you have the Cigna campus, which is a major traffic generator within the area. And then as you traverse east, in the middle segment, you see a number of medical offices right at the Prospect Street intersection in that section of the corridor. And then the eastern terminus, you then transition to more retail with the Copaco shopping center in that area with a lot of retail establishments within that segment of the corridor. So it's really a mix of office, retail, as well as residential users within the corridor. Next slide, please. So why are we doing this project? The goal and the purpose and need really is to replace aging signal infrastructure within the corridor. A number of the signal equipment is over 30 years old, and a good amount at the 20-year mark as well. So it's important to replace this aging infrastructure. Additionally, we are looking to improve traffic operations and safety, not just for the motorists, but for pedestrians and for bicyclists and transit users within the corridor. In terms of the improvements, as you've heard me talk about, we're looking to improve the signal equipment at these intersections, enhance pedestrian accommodations within the corridor, look to introduce some more cutting-edge technology within the corridor, potentially flashing yellow arrow to enhance safety for left-turning vehicles within the corridor, new detection for vehicles, and improved communications within the corridor as well. Improved access to transit stops is key, and then improving illumination at transit stops and at crosswalks within the corridor. Next slide. So to just highlight or just go into a little bit more detail of the individual intersections. So this is the first one, which is a Signalway intersection. And you're going to be seeing a recurring theme as I go through the remaining 7 intersections. But as you can see, it's a wide intersection. There's only one crosswalk along the southern leg, which is the signal way driveway. There is a sidewalk along signal way along the western side, but as you can see, there's very limited pedestrian accommodations. There are no pedestrian signals here. And even the existing ramps we have to look at because some of them are substandard. Next slide. As you go further to the east, the next intersection is Route 218 at Bloomfield Avenue, intersection Route 189. This is a major intersection within the corridor, as you can see, very wide. And there are no sidewalks, no ramps, and really no pedestrian accommodations within this intersection. As a matter of fact, this intersection also recorded the highest crashes within the corridor for this project. I think I counted for about 30% of the crashes within the corridor. Next slide, please. The third intersection is at Prospect Street. This is where you have the Cottage, 701 Cottage Grove medical offices. Again, there's a wide intersection. There's only one crosswalk. There are transit stops at this location, but again, substandard ramps for the ones that are even there right now, and really no pedestrian accommodations or limited pedestrian accommodations, and no pedestrian signals as well at this location. Next slide. As you get to the Jolly Drive intersection, this is intersection with the Hartford Healthcare establishment offices. There is a transit. There are 2 transit stops at this location. There's actually a bus shelter at this location. The photo at the bottom left tried to capture it. Maybe it's not very clear, but there is a bus shelter at the southwest corner of this location, and there are some sidewalks as well. There's one crosswalk. This is the only location that has pedestrian signal equipment that we'll be looking to upgrade as part of this project. Next slide. This intersection is at the Tyler Street intersection, is the first driveway to the shopping plaza. Again, wide intersection. There are 2 crosswalks, but the ramps leading to the crosswalks are substandard, as you can see from the photo on the left, top left. And again, no pedestrian accommodations. As you get to this location, the transit stops are within the site, and I'll talk a little bit more about that on the next 2 intersections. Next slide, please. This is the middle driveway to the shopping center. Again, recurring theme, limited pedestrian, the crosswalks. The ramps, again, are substandard. There's no pedestrian signals here. There are some sidewalks along the southern side of Route 218, connecting to the driveway to the west. Next slide. This is the easternmost driveway to the shopping plaza. Again, there's one crosswalk, limited pedestrian facilities at this location, substandard ramps, and again, the bus stops again are within the shopping plaza area. And the last intersection is the Granby Street intersection. There are 4 crosswalks, as you can see, but no pedestrian signals at this location, and ramps are substandard. So again, in the recurring theme, we're looking to enhance these accommodations and also improve traffic operations and safety within this location and in the corridor as a whole. Next slide, please. So in terms of the improvements for the traffic signal equipment, we're looking to install new mast arms, new signal heads, new and enhanced detection, new controllers, and also emergency preemption. Currently, there is no emergency prevention that gives priority to emergency vehicles going through the corridor. We are going to be providing that as part of this project, and also enhanced communication within the corridor for vehicles. Next slide, please. From a pedestrian accommodation standpoint, I've already sort of talked about this, but installing new crosswalks and ADA compliant ramps to the extent possible on all legs at each intersection, new sidewalks to connect ramps and transit stops within the corridor. Pedestrian signals with push buttons will be upgraded as well, and also implementing some form of pedestrian phasing with the opportunity to implement or install blank out signs, which provide additional information to drivers to yield to turning vehicles to yield to pedestrians within crosswalks, as you can see from the photo on the slide. So with that, I will hand over to Tom Daly to talk a little bit more about the detection and communication within the corridor. Tom?
Great, thanks, Kwesi. Yeah, so with regards to the traffic signal detection equipment, as part of this project, we'll be upgrading all of that equipment. Primarily two pieces of equipment regarding the traffic operations. The first is a 360-degree bell camera. This is used for stop bar detection and for all approaches to the intersection. The cameras detect the presence of vehicles waiting at the stop bar, which is used basically as a trigger to switch when to change the cycle from red to green. The second piece of equipment is the radar detection. This is used for advanced detection of approaching vehicles, and it will be implemented along Route 218. And basically, what this does is it extends the green time on the traffic signal when it detects vehicles approaching from a distance, typically up to about 500 feet, allowing for better operations and the movement of more vehicles through the traffic signals along 218. Next slide, please. And then as part of the project, we'll be upgrading all the communications systems between the signals. Currently, the signals are coordinated through some antiquated communication systems, a combination of wireless radio for several of the intersections and older copper communications, which is a little unreliable and hard to maintain. So the entire corridor, the signals will be linked through a fiber optic communication system, and then that through one of the controllers, one of the intersection controllers, will have a wireless communications back to the Connecticut DOT Highway Operations Center in Newington. This communication back to the Operations Center allows the DOT to communicate with the system, out there and react and respond to any operational issues or traffic incidents that may occur. And with that, I will turn it back to Kwesi.
Thank you, Tom. So moving on, and we want to just talk a little bit about project coordination, which is a key component of this project. We've been working closely with the Connecticut DOT as well as the town of Bloomfield. As a matter of fact, we met with town engineering staff last month to present the project and to also obtain feedback from engineering staff on the project. Some of the things that came up that I thought was worth mentioning was at the Signalway intersection, the town had expressed that the green time for the left turn into the residential development was very limited and should be extended, and that's something that we are going to be addressing as part of this project. The town did discuss the planned East Coast Greenway project, and which goes through our project area. In particular, along the eastern side of Tyler Street. This is at the Copaco Shopping Center, and then it continues along the southern side edge of Route 218 along the shopping center frontage through and past the easternmost driveway at the shopping center. Again, that's something that we are factoring in our design. It was understanding that the timeline for that project will probably be a year after this signal CTSS project is completed. But again, it's us accommodating and planning ahead with this project, making sure that we have sidewalks and ramps, particularly at the Tyler Street intersection, to accommodate the planned East Coast Greenway project. And then additionally, there was some discussion about the current U-turn at the Route 218 East driveway to the shopping center. Again, that's something that we are factoring in. The town has suggested possibly elimination of that U-turn, and we will factor that in as we go through our design. We have also been coordinating with the utility companies. There are a number of aerial utilities and underground utilities that we have to contend with as we go through the design, and we've been coordinating with the utility companies. And one of our next steps would be to actually have a utility coordination meeting with the utilities to identify any issues and also to mitigate any conflicts. Next slide. Right away, we are working to the extent possible to do this design and signal upgrade within the existing right of way. But we have identified up to 7 parcels that would be impacted and we would require easement for traffic purposes as part of this project. Next slide, please. With that, I will hand over to Kathleen Erickson to talk a little bit more about the right-of-way process. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwesi. So again, my name is Kathleen Erickson, and I'm an assistant project coordinator with the department's Division of Rights-of-Way. Our office is responsible for acquiring the property rights that are needed for transportation projects throughout the state. As mentioned previously, this project will require the acquisition of property rights. So I just want to give you a brief overview of our acquisition process. However, before I get further into that, I do want to mention that the specific property rights for this project are still being finalized and they may change as the design progresses. Also, any required property rights will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes, sections 13A-73 and 13A-98E, as well as the Uniform Act. And next slide, please. So the right-of-way acquisition process begins once the design has progressed to a development milestone and all the impacts from the project have been determined. At that point, each affected property owner will receive from our office a formal letter of intent to acquire, along with a property map which depicts the exact property rights to be acquired. On the screen here, you can see a sample of what those property maps look like. Next, our office will determine the fair market value of those property rights, which will be used to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer will be sent out to the property owner in writing, and a right-of-way agent will be available to meet with the property owner to explain the project, go over the specific impacts to their property, and to explain the state's offer. The property owner will have a reasonable amount of time, typically 30 days, to consider the state's offer and to enter into negotiations. Once an agreement is reached, the department will prepare all the necessary paperwork to record the deed and the property map on the town land records. However, if an agreement cannot be reached, in order to keep on schedule, the department may acquire the necessary property rights through its power of eminent domain. In that event, the state will file a notice of condemnation in the Superior Court, along with a monetary deposit in the amount of the state's offer. The owner would then have 6 months from that date to file an appeal if they felt that the state's offer was inadequate. Whether or not the owner chooses to appeal, the money that's deposited in the court is available to be withdrawn by the owner at any time. It is important to note, though, that the state will only acquire property rights that are needed for the project. If there are any questions regarding the right-of-way acquisition process, I can answer them during the Q&A portion of tonight's meeting. But for now, I'm going to turn it back over to Kwesi to continue the presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Kathleen. In terms of environmental impacts, we found that there were no cultural historic property impacts within the corridor. There are some historic properties, but they are not close enough that this project would impact them. Next slide, please. The usual question that we'll get is, how much is this going to cost? For now, there's a budget of about 10.8 million for this project, about 80% federally funded, 20% coming from the state. As we go through the design, this amount will be further refined. And then in terms of design schedule, we have gone through preliminary engineering, preliminary design. The next step for us is to go to semi-final, which we anticipate will be completed in September of 2024. And then advance to final design, which we anticipate completion in February of next year. Advertise the project hopefully in April of next year with a construction start date of fall of 2025. Next slide. In terms of next steps, we are looking to get input from the public. We will incorporate this feedback and use that to advance the semi-final design. We'll continue the design, further refine the right-of-way needs for this project, and continued coordination with the utility companies to identify any conflicts and what mitigation that we can implement to minimize any impacts for this project. Next slide. And with that, I will hand over to Jay Lockerbie.
Great. Thank you, Kwesi, Tom, and Kathleen. Really well done. I appreciate it. That'll be the end of our formal presentation. We now have our question and answer session. As I stated before, there are 3 different ways that you can submit questions to us. We have our project email. We also have our voicemail that you can call into. We ask that you reference this project 0011-0160 and leave your phone number so that we can get back to you. Or you can submit questions on the Zoom Q&A. We still have our project webpage there for any information after this meeting, and this recording will be posted on our YouTube page. With that, Gina has been monitoring the Q&A in the background. I'm not sure if we've had anything yet.
There are no questions yet, Jay.
Okay. And we also have our post-meeting survey that's in the chat too. We encourage you if you have any feedback on how we can improve, or have any questions or anything at all, please feel free to put in the survey, or also put anything in Q&A. Like we have a few questions. I think I'll go through the first couple.
I can go ahead and go through them, Jay, if you're ready. I just checked the voicemail. There's nothing there yet, but as
Yeah.
mentioned, we do have a few questions in the Q&A section. One of which is, once the physical activities begin, how long until the process is complete? I'm going to turn that over to Jay.
Yes. Typically these type of projects administratively last two seasons. The first season is spent procuring the equipment, coming up with plans for construction. And then once the physical ground breaks, it's typically a year to a year and a half of construction until the shafts for the new structures are drilled and the new mast arms are installed, the new signal heads are hung. It's about a year and a half. It can be faster or hopefully not longer, depending on the contractor's schedule.
Excellent. Another question in the chat is if this project will include the use of speed cameras. And I will turn that one over to Jay as well.
No, no speed cameras are part of the scope of this project. I that's all I can really, no.
There is another question regarding the inclusion of an additional location into the project that is at Cottage Grove Road, at Maple Road and Hall Boulevard. And if there are any known plans for that location as well. I'm gonna turn that back to Jay as well. Sorry, Jay.
No, it's okay. Off the top of my head, I'm not familiar with that intersection. This project was started as it was scoped as a project to upgrade the communications so that we continue to have good coordination and communications on this corridor. No, not at this time. We're obviously always trying to improve our traffic signal program. I encourage you to reach out to the town if you have any specific concerns about that intersection.
Another question is from the question specifically is regarding the signal providing service to the Gillette Ridge community, which for context is at the intersection of Prospect Street on Cottage Grove Road. And there's concern regarding the functionality of the signal for the past year and wondering if this could be addressed sooner than fall of 2025.
Yeah, is that I think that was the eastbound, is that the eastbound left at across from Signal Way?
Yeah,
At
so
the Signal Way light, right? So yeah, we can I would encourage you to also ask the town. We can follow up with our operations unit as well.
I think the larger question is if it would be possible to increase basically make the date come sooner for construction.
Yeah, like I said, I think the town is aware of that issue. We will follow up with the town in order to see what we can do in the short term.
There was a follow-up. This is regarding the Signal Way light. And if you'll give me 1 second, I can give you some further context on where that's located, Jay. So Signal Way is on 218 is at the intersection of Bay Hill Drive and Signal Way, located west of the large Bloomfield Avenue at Cottage Grove Road intersection.
Wait, do you have something to add for that?
Yeah, no, so the Signal Way intersection is the westernmost intersection that leads to that residential development in Signa. And I believe, Jay, you were answering the question because one of the things that had come up was for the eastbound green time extension. So I'm thinking that you answered the question unless there's something beyond that the person is asking. But yeah, Signal Way is the westernmost intersection at Barn Hill Road. Yeah.
Yeah.
An additional question is that the lights have been well coordinated so far, and looking to see what the public will see in the way of enhanced flow along Route 218.
Yeah, we've been struggling with communications out there actually. So we have, with the new communications we'll have out there, we'll have much quicker incident response time. We'll be able to actually see some of the advanced data. Well, with that advanced data, we'll actually be able to hopefully see problems before the citizens can call them in. We still rely a lot on something to be broken enough for citizens to call into the DOT or the town. So it's a lot of proactive maintenance that we can now start to implement before we wait for all of the citizens to call in for the towns to complain.
And maybe I can also add to that this project is not just looking at existing conditions. We are looking at future conditions, projection, operations to year 2032. So all these improvements, I have that in mind with anticipated traffic growth within the corridor.
Excellent. An additional question that I'll turn over to Jay is, has this type of upgrade been undertaken in another Connecticut town? And if so, what is the status of that project?
Yes, we have done a lot of fiber optic communication upgrades throughout the town of Newington that I'm familiar with, along 175, as well as in Rocky Hill, along Route 3, I forget what the local road is called, but along Route 3, we've implemented a lot of new fiber optic communications. We just finished design of a project on Silestine Highway in Rocky Hill and Weathersfield. That's still it's about to be sent out to construction soon. So yeah, it's in kind of statewide. We're also looking at a lot of detection upgrades throughout the state, a lot of more communications connectivity so that we can more proactively maintain our traffic signals.
The next one is for Kwesi, and it is there any more detail on the Signal Way improvements for a pedestrian crossing across Cottage Grove Road?
Yes. So the plan will be to implement pedestrian crossings on all 4 legs at this intersection. We are going to upgrade the ramps at each corner. Additionally, there is going to be pedestrian signal equipment at each of the 4 corners where pedestrians will be able to push a button and then they will see a head that says, you know, walk, and then they'll be able to walk, and then there's going to be a countdown in terms of how quickly they need to, the countdown will tell them how many seconds they have before they can finish crossing a particular leg. So the intent is to provide, all the pedestrian accommodations at this intersection and also making sure there's adequate lighting as well.
Thanks, Kwesi. At this time, there's no more open questions. Jay, did you have anything in the email box?
Nope. Nope, nothing on my end.
I checked the voicemail box twice, but I'm just gonna give it another check and see.
Yeah, I just want to add, I appreciate the question about, waiting a year for a signal to be fixed is too long. And that's kind of some of the things we're trying to make sure we have communications to, so we know that issue. We have been talking to the town, like Kwesi said during the presentation. We will follow up with them, and see what's going on. And I encourage anybody who has additional feedback to, you can send questions. We have this email and we will respond to you. Also, feel free to work with your town as well if you have any issues with your traffic signals.
I just went through and checked the voicemail, and at this time, there's no further questions there, and I don't see anything further in the Q&A portion.
All right. Let's just we'll wait a couple more minutes and see if there's any more.
Additionally, I'm also going to post again in the chat the optional survey for feedback on the virtual public information meeting. The system is designed so it can provide us feedback for these style meetings moving forward as well.
Sorry, I forgot a couple more projects. We're also doing these similar types of corridor signal replacement projects in Fairfield along Route 1, in Brantford along Route 1 as well. I think the next round we're also looking at Cheshire and Route 10. Those are later in design. Brantford and Fairfield are about the same design as this project.
I am still not seeing any more questions in the chat at this time.
All righty. Let me double check the email. Okay, I don't see anything. Let's just give it to 7:20 since we're almost there. But we did get a good amount of questions.
I also checked the voicemail box again, and there's still no voicemails at this time.
Alrighty. Well, with that, I appreciate everybody who attended and all the questions. Thank you to our presenters as well. Like I said before, we still have a comment period open. I encourage any questions to be sent to our email inbox, DOT project 0011-0160 ct.gov. Thank you for everybody's time. Have a good night.
Thank you.